This was the. Oh, there it is, bro. There it is, bro. Talking live. How's it, brothers and sisters? My name is Kawika, aka Mango, and welcome to the Talk Story podcast. Podcast with two local guys, me and this guy, like to just talk story. We're recapping all things video games, TV, nerd, and pop culture. For our stream schedule, please check the breakdown below in our description. All right. So whether you are watching from Kahalu to what is a location in Seattle? I don't know. Where do you live?
Tacoma area. So Tacoma, Washington area, so around the Puget Sound.
Way too much information right now. So whether you're in Kahalu or Tacoma, we want to give a big mahalo for tuning in. A big thanks for tuning in. We encourage anyone to please reach out to us on any of our platforms, where you can also find it in the description below, or we're going to say at the end of this live stream. In the comments, we would love to just talk story with you guys too. Okay. Before we jump in, we want to make a small kind disclaimer that our podcast is just our opinions. Okay. We do not say that we are journalists. We do not say that we are anything in the know. We are just two guys that love games, love pop culture, and we want to talk about them. Okay, so please take our thoughts and words all in good fun and speculation, and we will aim to try and cite our sources if we have them as best as we can. This is also a podcast that's not particularly geared towards the kids, or we like to call it the keiki. So as we like to say, parents, please be mindful, and if they do come on and they do stream this and you are offended, blame the guy next to me. Okay, blame him. But I'm not alone in this, as you can see. Okay. Without further ado, let me introduce my co-host, my brother from another mother, the Dragon Heart, the Wing Chun master with analytical disaster, the Filipino storyteller, and the man with the mustache that may or may not be a little bit bigger than his nose. My man Keith, or as he likes to be called, Draco. What's up, man? What's up, bruh? What's up, bruh?
Guys, my name is Keith, aka Draco, and I'm currently stationed in Tacoma. But yeah, back in the day,
like you're in the military, yeah.
Back in the day, I was born and raised in Hawaii, and was good friends with Kawika all the way through until I decided to move up here. But yeah, our friendship grew a lot from just what we're going to talk about today. We were just like huge fans of like TV shows and comic books and animes and video games. And that friendship just like clicked, and it kept on growing and growing and growing ever since. And now we are excited that with this podcast, we want to hopefully invite other people into our friendship to be able to just talk about the same kind of stuff that we love to talk about.
White people represent, bro. If you want to come on, we will put you on.
Oh, heck yeah.
Anybody. Doesn't have to be white people, but yeah, we could talk pigeon freely.
Really? You know, it's such a fun relief to be able to like try to like warm up my pigeon again after like living like 5 years in Tacoma.
Yeah. Well, would you say that your pigeon was even good when you lived there?
No, that was fun.
At least you're honest. At least you're honest, boy. At least you're honest.
It's one of those like, you know, like when you're learning a different language, it's like I can understand it well, I just can't like say it really well.
Pigeon, for people that don't know what it is, we're not talking about birds. It's just like a Hawaiian type of Creole. Is that what you would call it?
Oh, Creole
language. As the people in the plantation days, in the plantation era would work, we'd have a lot of people from Filipino, Japanese, the Hawaiians all working the sugarcane plantations. You mix a bunch of cultures together, you get a little bit of everything, which is kind of Creole language, aka Pidgin, which is kind of like our slang, you know. I would say it's like, would you like Hawaiian Ebonics?
I wouldn't say Ebonics because like Ebonics is just like a whole different thing.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, Hawaiian slang.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Well, technically, people would argue with that because Creole is actual language.
Yeah, that is true.
But that's not what we're here to talk about. That's not what we're here to talk about, Keith. That's not what we're here to talk about.
That is true. We can save that for another time. What is
what
true?
Are we here? What are we here to talk about?
We are here to talk about all things gaming. Yes, in our description, we're hoping that our episodes will also include pop culture, entertainment, and movies. But the both of us have this huge love for gaming, and because of that, we feel like our first episode, just it just seems proper. It makes sense that we just kind of talk about our favorite gaming moments, kind of like what kind of like got us so in love with just like the video games that led us to where we're at right now. Yeah,
Gaming brings people together, man.
definitely.
It truly
Especially
does.
with just how like this year has been and what last year, the year that we shall not speak of it ever again, has been. It just seems like gaming has like been like a
Like
huge
Voldemort? Is that what
for
the year is called?
I am personally considering the year that shall not be named as such. Yeah.
Okay.
But something with just how the way the world is right now, gaming has made such huge leaps, even though like it's honestly it did get held back. I won't say that it was like it made like huge advancements. Everything got held back with COVID.
Yeah.
But because we were stuck indoors, it just seems like the use of gaming has made people actually come a little bit closer. So even though the year that shall not be named has really sucked, it made us appreciate games more. Which is why this first episode will be focusing on gaming today.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Do you want to jump into what is Talk Story, Keith?
All
What
right.
is that?
So talk
What is
story is another Hawaii slang. It's just basically when like you're just having casual conversations with your friends. Around over here, you probably just call it shoot the shit. But in Hawaii, it's just more like let's just talk story.
really? That's what they say in Tacoma?
I have
Isn't that like a
found,
negative? That sounds so negative. Talk Story is
that
not
sounds-
even negative.
but like it's
I,
like
okay,
the idea of being casual. It's just being like no plans, no like exciting event that we're gonna do. We're not gonna do something like like, oh dude, our so what we're gonna do is that we're gonna go out, get buzzed, jump on an airplane, skydive, and then after the skydive, we're gonna do some tracks. It's like no, that's not talk story. I just like our hangout is just casual. It's meant to be
Yeah.
casual. Yeah.
yeah. Picture sitting around with a few beers or juices or sodas, just with your boys and having a good discussion. That's probably what it is. We do that a lot with like backyard barbecues and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But it ties straight into gaming. It ties straight into like because these are the things that we would talk about. At least me and Keith.
Hmm.
We would talk story about video games and podcasts and things. I think that's ties into the relationship of how this even started. I met where did I meet you, Keith? When was the first time? It was church. Yeah.
Yeah, it was church, but it was like, whoo, back in the day.
Man, 8 years, 9 years ago.
9 years ago, yeah.
Must be, right? We were in high school. Well, I was in high school. Were you in high school?
I just recently graduated.
You had recently.
I was like, wait, yeah, so like we met right after I graduated. So right after my
Yes.
senior year.
Well, in typical Hawaii fashion, rep your high school.
Heck yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Forgot. So Roosevelt.
Roosevelt.
There you go. And if you want to guess where Kawika graduated,
Roosevelt.
there you go.
Yeah, it even gives you a little burp and stuff like that too. But yeah, so we went to the same high school. I didn't really know Keith, but we did meet in church. We went to the same church together. That's a whole nother story in itself, which we'll probably talk about here. But we'll save that. But we met in church, and then Keith was one of the very few, I would say, that I can really talk to him about any type of thing nerd culture, whether it be anime, whether it be video games, And then as you find out and you'll learn, Keith is a person where you won't, if you engage him with something, he'll talk and he will continually talk and he will talk as much as you are willing to talk with him, which was making things like breaking down a Star Wars series and discussing its lore just as enjoyable. And you can't really have that with too much people. So yeah, I would say that relationship with or my bro Keith kind of grew, and that wasn't just that. We didn't just purely talk. We were friends and we lived together for a good portion of time. Shout out to the guy's house, but we lived together and cruised. But I always enjoyed that, and so when the idea came up, which he was kind of alluding to with the Voldemort season, which was just COVID for people that didn't catch that yet. Yeah, I don't know why. I spent a lot of time not involved in the video game culture or just podcast culture in general. And then COVID helped people discover a lot of things, I'm assuming. And so I spent a lot of time listening to a bunch of video game podcasts. And by this time, Keith had already moved to Tacoma, Washington, Seattle side and stuff. But we would keep in touch. But got super into just listening to all these different podcasts. And shout out to Double Barrel Boomstick, at least for me, Double Barrel Boomstick. So Mr. Boom, as people may know him, and the Iron Lords podcast. Listened to a lot of them, and was just really inspired to just not necessarily even do a podcast, but just enjoying that type of culture, that type of camaraderie where people can just come and talk story about things that they love, and in their case, video games. But yeah, and so the more that I talked about that, Keith already had his own channel. For those that want to check it out and are into sign language and sign dancing, and you did reviews yourself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Movie reviews and stuff.
There was a separate channel that I did, mainly just because out of my way to like try to develop comfort in Tacoma before I met with my good friends.
Yeah,
I do have a separate YouTube channel that is called Storyteller Ordonez. And on that channel, it first started with sign dancing art.
Because we did that together.
That's another thing that Kawika and I had in common. Like after we got connected with the nerd thing, we got connected with sign language, and we ended up being like the sign dancing portion of our church's dance team. So like we had hula, hip hop, and the two of us did sign dancing. Mm-hmm. Anyways, my YouTube channel had sign dancing art, Bible stories, and because I was thinking like, why not movie reviews?
Yeah, why not? Why not?
I have not been on my channel for a while during the year that shall not be named, only because like there wasn't really that much to talk about at the time.
Were you sad?
I was really sad. There was like
little boy.
There's not that much movies for me to talk about. So yes, I was very, very sad.
Blasphemy. There are so much movies.
No, I mean like that's debatable, but it's like
ones that you don't really like is what you're saying.
Okay. Right.
But yeah, as you can see, we wanted this podcast at its heart to just be a way that me and Keith, as friends, as brothers, as just family, to just cruise with each other, just to reconnect and stay together, you know, because for any person that has moved from Hawaii to the mainland or to the States, or just in general, you know, it's hard. It's hard to move from home and then recuperate, and especially with Keith having all of his friends here at that time. So yeah, it's just a way where I can stay connected with him. At its core, I would like to think that it's that, unless he secretly hates me, you know, and just wants to wait till this thing blows up and then kick me out in a very betrayal fashion. Which
on the surface, I am hoping for that day, because can you imagine the amount of views and followers that we might get from that on the surface? But
it's not about that. It's about our friendship. What is wrong with you? How dare you?
Below the surface, like after our connections and everything like that, I mean, like, I'm definitely blessed that I have a friend like Kawika who keeps in touch even after I move. Like, of all the people that I have grown with in Hawaii, very few of them still kept in touch with me, and Kawika has been consistent in always trying to stay in touch. And it's just great to have like that type of friendship where, like, even though we're distance apart, we still try our best to support each other because he's my brother. He's like he's basically my brother, and I'm hopefully I'm the same for him. Which is why this podcast is so exciting, because this is basically our way to make sure that we still stay connected all the time. It's just great.
It's a gaming podcast, not a Hallmark movie. Calm yourself. You make me cry. Also, with that though, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, we also wanted this to be a time where we could represent Hawaii, represent gaming culture awareness in Hawaii, or just podcast culture in Hawaii. I'm sure there's a ton of people in Hawaii that are just doing things like that, but in the circles that I see, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, I don't see a lot of Hawaiian content creators that are really specified in this. And people may think, whether it's from the States, that Hawaii is just a tourist capital. Whether you think we live in huts or ride dolphins or just surf to school, which we do not do.
At least not on a consistent basis.
I've had that, dude. I've had people on Xbox Live back in the day be like, "Do you ride your turtle to school?"
Wait, what? That's a real thing?
We won't get into that. We won't get into that. But there's just people that just, they just don't know, and that's something that we just want to bring, whether it be the culture, whether it be putting the Hawaiian people on a platform, because Hawaii, when people come up, the whole state comes up with them.
Right.
Max Holloway, good example. Or just anybody. We can go off. But anyways, that's something we want this to be too. So if you are from Hawaii, if you are a content creator, if you are, and we're just starting off too, so I can, you know what I mean? But if you would want to come on, we want to put you in that spotlight, whether you're a gamer, whether you're a streamer, whether you are just trying to do something for the land, for the Aina, for the culture, for the people. We'd love to just talk story with you guys. Okay. Yeah. But primarily video games, definitely movies, shows, all that kind of stuff. Because that's what we like to talk about too, but it's politics, all that kind of stuff. It's bound to slip in, but we'll try and watch our tongue with that for sure. But for the people that came, we'll try and put little what are those things called in the YouTubes where it has like, this is what we're talking about here, and this is what we're talking about here. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about.
Timestamps. Boom. That's what they're called. We'll put timestamps on top of this. So if you just want to get to the games, that's what we're going to do now. So without further ado, Keith. Favorite games. Favorite games, Keith.
Favorite games. All right.
Dude, top 3. Now go.
My top 3.
Don't even show the videos. Just go. Just kidding.
Top of my head.
Just kidding. Do whatever you're gonna do.
Top of my head. My top favorite 3 games. My top favorite 3 games. Pokemon, Devil May Cry, and Final Fantasy.
Specific. There's many Pokemon. Okay, there's many Devil May Cry. There's many Final Fantasies.
Well, yeah. Okay. So I'm just gonna say that the 3 that I'm gonna mention are because the franchise. I love the franchises. The Devil May Cry franchise, the Final Fantasy franchise. But in terms of specific, these are the games that I just kind of like got me introduced into the franchise, because it was just like they were so epic in their gameplays. So it was Pokemon Silver, and then there was Devil May Cry 3, and then for Final Fantasy, it was Final Fantasy X. Now,
I want to hear you explain this one.
You want to hear it? Okay, so Pokemon Silver.
Well, start from wherever you were gonna go. You don't have to jump into Final Fantasy X.
So Pokemon Silver was the second Pokemon game that I've played. Classic. I tried Pokemon Red only because it was the thing at the time. Back in the 90s, there was like the try to get Pokemon started with the whole gotta catch 'em all, and that one commercial where it's the Pokemons were in the bus, and then the bus driver crushed them all in the compactor. He caught them. I do not
remember this commercial at all. But I do remember recess. People would always bust out their Game Boys.
Yeah. So like Pokemon was the buzz thing, but like Pokemon Red was like, I'm gonna say on record that Pokemon was my first video game. Like my first video game. So I was just getting used to the idea of just like, playing with video games. So I didn't know the tricks like the EX or, grinding or I just tried to follow it as best I can. And I just was mostly in it for the story, even though there
Why
wasn't.
red? Why red?
Why red?
Yeah.
All right.
You don't like Blastoids? You hate Blastoids?
As much as I love Blastoise now, I mean,
You're like everyone else, Keith. Everyone loves Charizard.
It's in my name. It's in my name, Draco. Pokemon Red had a dragon on it. How am I not going to go for it after my favorite thing is a dragon? So that's why I started with Pokemon Red. Just like fire breathing dragon. That's gonna be my pet. Fire breathing dragon. Yes. But I didn't understand how the game is supposed to like work in terms of like training and gym badges and everything like that. This is very embarrassing for me to say this out loud, but like I was so unaware of how the game works. It took me 3 months, I think 3 to 4 months to get a gym badge from Misty. I spent 3 to 4 months trying to work on the second gym badge of the game. That's how like unaware about video games I was at the time. But somehow I still loved it because it was popular. Now, Pokemon Silver. Okay, wait, actually, I didn't finish Pokemon Red. During my elementary years, I never finished Pokemon Red. Pokemon Silver comes around, and it's the new hype. And even though I didn't finish Pokemon Red, I'm like, I'll give it a try. So I bought Pokemon Silver, and I'm a little bit more aware of how the game works. This was the game that I actually completed. I knew how training works now. I knew how like the battle system, the rock, paper, scissors type advantages work. I knew how the gym battles work, and the fact that you're able to visit old sections of the Pokemon world like a proper sequel, where like you went from one new Pokemon world to the old Pokemon world, or the new land to the old land, and be able to like redo, the Pokemon Red in the Silver setting. Oh, it was just like, it got me so excited and realizing like, this is what video game is like. Just
like 2 games in one. You had 2 games in one.
It's like complete immersion into this world, and it felt like I actually kind of grew up in it.
Silver was like you get the combo choices in plate lunches. Yeah, you get the Loco Moco and you get the chicken katsu.
You get like, so for the nudge for a lot of people, it's like, so you have Pokemon Silver, which is Johto, and then you go into Pokemon Red Kanto after you beat the Johto section. So you get both combos. You get your chicken katsu and your Loco Moco all on one plate.
Damn right.
But like, and then just to top it all off, you can also battle against a version of your old self in the game. I thought this was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. And this is like one of the few video games that I've played, but even I knew that there was something special about this, in that after you beat everything that there can be in this game, you can then challenge your old self, what all the gamers call Pokemon, like the battle against Red. And it's like this incredible sensation of like battling your old self and like kind of seeing how far that you've gone in comparison to like how much that you could have gone in Red. It was just epic. Absolutely amazing. And on top again, and then of course on top of that, now looking back at the clip, the graphics and the sprites of Pokemon Silver was just like really awesome. A big upgrade from like previous Pokemon games.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, Pokemon Silver. It was like, it was so much fun, like getting involved into that. Okay, and then I had another favorite game called the Devil May Cry series.
Yeah, let's be clear before you jump into this that was that your Pokemon? That was a clip, right?
That was
you didn't fight Red with a Jinx and a Graveler. You had a Jinx. Shut your mouth. What's your lineup right now, real quick? What was your lineup against Red?
Okay, my lineup against Red in Silver, not Soul Silver, but in Silver, it was Jinx, Tyranitar. Oh my Lord. No, I did not have Tyranitar. Jinx.
Okay.
Typhlosion. Sorry, Jinx Typhlosion. That was
the
red
starter. The
parrot.
starter.
Yeah. Arcanine. I can't remember the other three, but I do remember that I had those three. Jinx, Typhlosion, and Arcanine. I don't know. Jinx was like very, very buffed in that
It's
version.
a psychic type, dude. Yeah, they're always good to have. Okay, cool.
But yeah,
strong lineup. Jinx was a left curve, but hey, to each its own.
I mean, like ice psychic. Like the ice type got a huge boost in the silver series, which would make sense because like psychic got a debuff. Because psychic was just like a troll in the Pokemon Red. They just kind of like this was before, and this is the nerdy nitpick talk. So Pokemon Pokemon Gold and Silver series were the first Pokemon games to split the special attacks into special attacks and special defense. Before in Pokemon Red, specials was just special. So it was just an all combination of gigantic buffs to your special attack moves. So once you have like psychic Pokemons like Alakazam or Mewtwo in Pokemon Red, you basically can just bolo the whole game.
Bolo.
Yeah, you like that one, man.
That's a good term. That's a good term. Did you catch Lugia?
I did. Oh yes, I did. Silver was like because in Gold you can't encounter Ho-Oh unless you catch the 3 dogs, which is weird. Silver was a lot easier. All you had to do was I think beat the 6th gym, and then the World Islands will be open for you to explore. Yeah. Then you can
find Lugia in the cave.
Yeah, and like with him being Psychic Air, like that was also a pretty good combination as well, because like the air combos are like pretty good against fighting moves, which is like really good against like the first conflict gym leader.
Yeah, and for those that haven't played Silver, correct me if I'm wrong, but to find the dogs was kind of, you had to be random too, right? They would just appear in certain spots.
Yeah,
you just have to be lucky to find them.
Then you were able to like track them because because like in the Pokedex system allows you to like see the location of Pokemons that you've seen. Yeah. In Pokemon Red, those locations only appeared if you caught them, but in Pokemon Silver, all you have to do is see them, and then you're
even then it was just a generalized location. You still have to run through the grass.
Because I remember this algorithm system in that you cannot just sneak up on them. Like you can't. Okay, no. You have to sneak up on them. You cannot fly to them. You can't just look at your Pokedex location. Oh, Suicune is in this area, and then fly to that area, because the algorithm will cause Suicune to run to the other direction in the opposite end of the world. And it's like, oh shoot! Then you fly over, and you have to like try to figure out this way of like flying 2 towns over, and then spend 30 minutes walking through one town, then walking through the other town, in the hopes that you can sneak up on that dog before he runs away.
I think
let's do that 3 times.
This is, to me, my last point in Pokemon Silver. I just remember that was probably one of my first introductions to prayer in general. Well, sorry, let me correct it. N64 was my first introduction to prayer. I'm talking about like to God prayer. N64, I don't know if this was even proven wrong or something like that, but N64, if your game didn't start, you would, do you remember? You would take it out, blow, you put it back in. When I put it back in, I specifically remember, I don't even know if I was going to church at this time, but I specifically remember shooting out a little prayer. And I really believe if I shot the prayer out, it would work more consistently than not. But going back to Pokemon Silver, I remember I also did this. I was fighting Lugia. I was having a really hard time. I can't remember if my guys were good or they weren't good. But I just remember using every Ultra Ball, all my good Pokeballs until I just had Pokeballs. And I remember I was down to, I think, 1 Pokeball left, and if not, I would have just killed Lugia, because I had Lugia real low like to the point where you want to get them like as close to dead as well. The Pokemon don't die; they faint, but to me, they're to dead as possible.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
then
mean, like for us, it was like dead because they would be like permanently gone if you
right. But my Lugia was a champ. Like it just did not. I got it to like it was dying. It was on life support. Breathing from the air machine. And yet every Pokeball that I threw at it didn't work. So this last Pokeball had one more left. I kid you not. True story. Last Pokeball left. I threw it. Okay? I threw the Pokeball. I put my Game Boy under the pillow and I prayed. And I was like, come on, let me catch it. And I took the pillow off and it shut my Game Boy off. Just kidding, I caught it. So yeah, I caught Lugia with the last Pokeball.
Yeah, you had me going when you said turn it off because I've had so much experience with that. Where it's like, like
that's all I have to say. That's all I have to say.
Turn the thing off before you catch that.
But sorry to interrupt you. Devil May Cry 3.
Oh.
Devil May Cry Baby.
Devil May Cry franchise is an interesting story in itself. Just like Pokemon, Devil May Cry 3 was not my first game. It was I played Devil May Cry first, the very first Devil May Cry game, and it was my first.
Are you soothing the underworld? Is that what this game is about? I've never played a Devil May Cry.
So Devil May Cry is like this hyper quick action pack slash hack and slash game. A lot of video game analysis is particularly back in the Game Informer days. Like the editors used to say
Game Informer. Oh, that's still out. That's still out.
There's a lot of editors who claim that the whole hack and slash genre started with Devil May Cry. So games like God of War, Fallen Jedi Order, Dark Souls, all of those games can probably be traced back to like Devil May Cry. This the idea of just like hyper quick combos and just like hack and slash with your swords. And
my wife is home. Hello, wife. Chloe's here.
Wife is home. Your wife is home. Yay!
It's okay. It'll happen one day. Yeah. Chloe says hi. Okay, go ahead.
So Devil May Cry was my first PlayStation
Your
game.
wife.
I'm not gonna say it though. I'm gonna.
Someone will come soon.
Before I say something weird.
Someone will come soon for you.
Oh, I'm hoping. I'm sure someone will. But okay, so Devil May Cry.
Marry Keith, please. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Devil May Cry was my first PlayStation game, and it's because I was attracted to the new genre of hyper action. And then I heard Devil May Cry 2 came out, but it had bad reviews. I never bought it. I was actually having really low hopes that the series would continue on, because I think Devil May Cry 3 came out 5 or 6 years after the first game. But anyway, so Devil May Cry, the first game, loved it, and then when I found out that Devil May Cry 3 came out, I was like, no way. The second one was so bad. They're making a third one, and it's it was just on the cover of Game Informers and PlayStation magazines and all that kind of stuff, and just seeing the design of Devil May Cry 3, it was it's one of those games was you get excited before you get it, because the initial concept and ideas just look so good, and then when you finally get it, it actually lives up to those expectations. Just the hyper quick combat and gameplay that Devil May Cry series had is just so epic. Devil May Cry was the first game for me that actually made me work hard. I know people can say their talks about how hard Dark Souls is, or Demon's Souls is, or Sekiro is, or how Fallen Jedi Order was. Devil May Cry for me was the first time I realized gaming is hard. It requires skill. It requires practice and commitment. the AI for this game was not like god awful bad, but just difficult enough where you have to give it as much focus as you can. And because of the hard work that you put into the gameplay, you would actually feel good about winning the game. I mean, like, it's not my place to say that gaming is a sport. Sorry, I'm gonna say that aloud. It's not my place to say if gaming is a sport, but there was something about like how hard the game was that actually made me feel like I have accomplished something difficult. I put in the effort to finish something that was just like so hard, but so fun. And the gameplay was so seamless for the PS2 at the time. I'm sure that games are better now, but like it felt amazing to me back then. And to top it all off, this was the game where I feel like the story was incredible. Before, video games were just like, enjoying the gameplay, just like the spectacle of it. Like in Pokemon, like, my first game was Pokemon, and like there's not really much of a story in that. You go around collecting as much Pokemon as you can and beating everybody as you can.
How dare you? Being the very best is the greatest story of them all.
I'm not going to say that it's not the greatest story, but there was not much to it. You got to admit, there was just like not much to the story. Even the first Devil May Cry, there was not that much of a story. It was like a puzzle. It was a combination of puzzles and action as you're going through literally hell, defeating all these demons. But Devil May Cry 3 actually had a story that made me care about these characters, actually care about the situation that they were in. This was the first time that I thought that video games can push the envelope of not just, being entertaining in terms of gameplay, but also entertaining in terms of story, entertaining in terms of like what these characters, I don't know, can represent for us or can teach us. They just have as much validity in their importance as English literature studies or even great works of movie art. And I'm not saying that Devil May Cry 3 is a masterpiece. It is to me, but I'm not saying that Devil May Cry 3 is a masterpiece. But I am putting on record that I do believe that it is one of the first games that took stories in a very important direction. Besides Final Fantasy VII, which was just like a lightning in a bottle masterpiece as well. But yeah, and in fact, like I would say that like I'm part of the reason why Devil May Cry 3 still ranks as my #1 favorite game is they had the most incredible ending that was worth the payoff. There are very few video games that get me like so emotionally invested that they give me a wow surprise moment in terms of story, not gameplay, that was well worth it. On the top of my head, I think there are only 3 moments where games have done that for me. And that was honestly Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy, and Devil May Cry. Those are the only 3 games that I know where like the payoff of the story was so worth it. So the first one being like Devil May Cry 3.
If you're Keith, everyone, if you want good, heart-wrenching, emotional stories, just don't play anything but JRPGs. That's pretty much what he's saying. Because everything else is trash. Let's just be honest. Everything else is trash, but JRPGs make you cry. Grown men, Samoans, cry. Or Filipinos with overly large mustache. Maybe it just touched you. Because you just mentioned all JRPGs. That's pretty much what you said.
I would say that my favorite genre of games nowadays are JRPGs, only because like they do so well in combining gameplay and story. Like they consider all elements of the game as important, or at least the really good ones, like the really good ones. And I'm not saying that all the other video game genres suck ass at doing stories. I'm just saying that my first experience of good video game stories was Devil May Cry, and they would consistently try to make sure they keep up with the story.
Yes, we're not saying that at all, everyone. Every game is fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Devil May Cry 3, and then I think finally for my favorite games, and I already mentioned it, was Final Fantasy, and for me specifically, it was Final Fantasy X.
I want to hear this. I do not know why you picked 10.
Well, here's the thing. My first
10 is the one where they play that little rugby game, right?
Yeah, the underwater rugby game, Blitzball.
Yes.
I honestly wanted to try that out someday. The closest that we had was what was it? When they like play soccer in the pool. What's
the main character? He wore a shirt like this.
He had these uneven shorts. Like
what was his name? Titus? Titan? T?
For the sake of the fandom, he's canonically. For the sake of the fandom, canon, he was called Titus.
Titus. That sounds
the
like
canon pronunciation is Titus.
Okay.
I never call him that. He's Titus to me.
Okay, it was Titus. Okay, Titus. I was just wondering.
Yeah. But like because like it was in Kingdom Hearts, they pronounced it as Titus, and so that became the canon pronunciation. Okay. But my first PlayStation was the PlayStation 2. It wasn't the PlayStation 6, it was my PlayStation 2. So that would mean that my first Final Fantasy game would be the Final Fantasy X, which was the first Final Fantasy game for the PlayStation 2.
Wow. You did not play 7.
I did not play 7 before 10. I did not play X before 10. I played X.
Okay.
Yeah. But here's the thing, it's like I was so amazed by the product of Final Fantasy X that I did eventually play the other games. So I played 1, 7, and 8. So those are the other Final Fantasy games that I've played after 10. And of course, they're amazing and great. And I'm in love with my PS4 remake of Final Fantasy VII. But 10 is what got me.
Yep.
The 10 is what got me into the Final Fantasy franchise, because just like how Devil May Cry's story amazed me in terms of what video games can do, then came Final Fantasy X, which also pushed the envelope of storytelling for me. Like, I also really enjoy these characters, and the setup and plot of Final Fantasy X, even though janky sometimes, very consistent and showed the character developments as well as the situational narrative in order to give it a very satisfying conclusion that would hopefully cause people to like have a little change in their own community or have a little retrospect of their own communities, issues of politics and religion, and just like the community in one aspect or one extreme or the other, how they seem to be in some ways connected by the trappings of common misconception of religion, politics, and everything in between. So just the overall atmosphere, world building, plot of Final Fantasy X was amazing, which I heard Final Fantasy VII was also really good at. I mean, Final Fantasy VII is also really good at. But again, I started with 10. And on top of that, I think what really got me into Final Fantasy X was the soundtrack. Again, these are my first games. I mean, like soundtrack.
Can you give us an example? I'm just kidding. You don't have to say. Don't kill us.
I was so ready. I will say, like, there were 2 soundtracks in the games that actually, it actually like got to me. Mm-hmm. And one soundtrack is the beginning of the game, where like your character gets sucked into the new world of Spira.
Right now.
And there's like there's this soundtrack moment between his transition from his world to the next world of Spira. And there was something about that soundtrack that made that moment feel so epic. There are actually really fun YouTube videos, and I apologize, I don't know the name of those channels, but you can try to Google them, where YouTubers actually try to remove the music. And the dynamic is like very noticeable, like surprisingly noticeable. Without the soundtrack, that scene is like somewhat not as exciting. It's not as compelling. But then you add in the soundtrack, and then something about the tonnage, the slow pacing, makes you feel like something epic is about to start, which is, of course, what the game is trying to get you to catch up.
I'm following. Yeah, I'm buying. I'm buying. You're getting real philosophical with all this stuff, man.
Well, yeah,
it's very moved you.
Well,
I
okay.
can picture you listening to this while eating ice cream.
I mean, if I wanted to make my ice cream experience like something like emotional and something like life changing, I probably would play this song.
Yeah, well, most Final Fantasy songs are pretty emotional and life
Um,
changing.
I think the soundtrack was called Orin's Lament, or like it's Orin's song. So like, but for people who are curious about like which song I'm talking about, it's Orin's song, and that's the
Orange song.
Orin.
Lauren's song.
There you go. and and then the second song was the theme song of the song. Ah, shucks, but I forgot the title of it. But it's basically like the song that they will play in order to market this song. And I'm sure everyone knows which song I'm talking about if you've ever played Final Fantasy X. It's the romance song between Titus and Yuna, which again also adds in a lot to the atmosphere. I wouldn't say Titus and Yuna's romantic story is like solid and spot on. There's some bits of it that I feel like was really janky also. Like they could have developed it a little bit more. But you know, that scene where they play the song and it just kind of somehow set up this like atmosphere of gentleness to the point where like it actually felt believable during their romantic scenes. It was really nice. It was really like, I want a very similar experience of a first date to be like that romantic scene where that song played in. It set the standards of what your romantic relationship should be like. It set the standards. That's how influential. That's how emotional it was.
Yeah, it definitely sets the standards.
But on top of all the soundtrack, it was also very gorgeous. Just the design was for me like the first like truly mind-blowing graphics. It wasn't like blocky and chunky or anything like that. It was like beautifully done, and the gameplay was epic, even though it was simple. Where it's just like a turn-based JRPG, but it's had animations that made the game feel so like so action-packed as you're playing it. And you're like the I don't know, there's something about like the sphere grid leveling system made you also have a sense of working hard on your levels to make sure that what you're getting at or what you're achieving really was worth the hard work that you're putting in. And also, this was the first JRPG where I was like getting used to the idea of different classes for each character. So every character had to be built up in a different way, which means you actually had to get to know these characters not only in a story aspect, but on a gameplay aspect. You actually had to learn the relationship of each character as if these were real people that you had to learn, just so that you could figure out the best type of gameplay strategies to use them for. So you actually had to know the gameplay story of Auron or Yuna or Titus, just so that you can figure out what is their best best advantages in a battle. It was a rush of commitment. Yeah, I said that sentence. It was like a rush of commitment that was so enjoyable, so fun, so worth it in the end. Right. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Wow. Wow, that was, you sold me.
There you go. There you go. So those are my top 3 favorite games, and kind of the reason why they've been my favorite games. All right, I've talked enough. Now it's your turn. We gotta know what are Mango's favorite 3 games.
Would you play that song at your wedding?
Oh my god!
Walking down the aisle to that song, would you cry?
If my would-be wife wants that song, we will play it. Honestly though, honest secret. Honestly though, if I had a choice at the wedding song, I'll probably play the Naruto last movie song. I was like on record right here, people. If I had a choice in the wedding song, Starlight Trip from Naruto the last movie. I guarantee. So romantic. So puts you in the mood.
Starlight Trip. Is that the one where Naruto and Hinata are falling?
No, that was the one that was the end credits when during their wedding.
Oh, I see. I gotta look that up. Starlight Trip.
Yeah. Or I could just look up Naruto the last movie.
I see. Okay, intro me again. Sorry. No. I'm just kidding. I jumped into it. Oh shucks, where do I start? This was actually really hard because I grew up. What was my first? I think my first gaming system was a N64 or a Game Boy. It was one of those two. So I'm within that generation. I never got to experience all the Sega generations. I'm sorry. 91, as in my gamer tag, Bango Mango 91, is when I was born. So N64 was king. Nintendo was king, and PlayStation was on the come up. So I actually had a PlayStation.
That's right.
I had a PlayStation 2. And then I had a PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and I'm currently sitting with a Series X right now. But with all those in mind, I have a little bit of everything, you know. I'm not here to spur on the console wars, even though Xbox is the best box, in my opinion.
It's the best box. If you want to have a choice between what kind of box to have, then yeah, you go with the Xbox.
Yes, or you could have I don't know, a futuristic.
If you want
air conditioner, is that what you want with your PS5?
I mean, like, yeah, if you want to have a futuristic air conditioner that gives you the high end, top of the line movie quality entertainment, you would go with the PS5.
Yes, and nothing else.
And nothing. For some people, it would be nothing else. I can relate to those people.
As you can see, I am an Xbox fan, and Keith is a PlayStation fan.
PlayStation.
So. But I do like everything. Don't get me wrong. Okay, we're not one of those people that are just straight toxic. Though we do like to poke fun every now and then. So I have a little bit of everything on my smorgasbord. Starting with, should I just I'll just go on top. My favorite stinking game. Probably most people can guess based upon my affinity and love for Xbox would have to be Halo, specifically Halo Combat Evolved, which was the first Halo. As people like to say, Halo 1. Yeah, as you can see, oh man, this just takes me back, dude. This just takes me back. I used to go over to my friend Jeremy's house. We used to bike ride and things to there. And this was like when console systems was kind of just renewed to me. I believe I was like maybe like 6th grade at this time. So shout out to Jeremy. He'd have the first Xbox, and I would always bike ride to his house because for 90s kids, bike riding was a thing, and we would bike everywhere. And so yeah, like this was one of the first levels, and man, back then, like seeing an open level like this, shooting elites and things like that. This you gotta mention, like I gotta mention this, like. We have things like GTA 5 and The Witcher now and things like that. But back then, this world was huge, dude. This world was huge. And then the technology of things was just crazy. Like you could throw a grenade and stick a little grunt and he would respond to that. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You throw the grenade, like, you know, screaming like.
They actually like you have like your enemies actually had thinking AIs. They were just like
enemy AI was fire back then, dude.
Yeah,
it was crazy, and I don't even know if the story itself is amazing. The Halo story itself is amazing. The tone of it, the atmosphere. Whoa! Sorry. What are you saying?
I am saying.
What are you saying?
The first 3 games were my favorite story arc because they had the Arbiter.
Okay, it was your favorite. I see what you're saying. Don't sleep on 4 and 5, man.
I know. I look at too. It's just like there was something about like the Halo 2 and the first Halo, super iconic and simple storyline, satisfying. And then Halo 2 and 3 comes around and they were somehow able to give complexity to it by creating the character the Arbiter.
Yes. Yeah, Arbiter was good.
And I don't know. It's just like when they did that, like the story got like so epic. Like there was like something about there was like certain um different different war side points of views that they explored with by creating if you guys can't guess, the Arbiter is my favorite character because he just opened up he opened up a huge portion of the storytelling that like was just like epic, so epic.
Yeah. It definitely added to the lore 100%.
Mm.
And that deep voice.
That
Who knew that aliens could sound so sexy?
so buttery.
Do you know the actor that voices the Arbiter? He's in a lot of TV shows and a couple of movies.
And I might double check it, but I think he might have been the voice of Kratos also.
Really?
Not the PS like not the new God of War.
Mr. Keith David.
Was it Keith?
He was Keith David, my man.
Voice of Arbiter.
Yep, he's the voice of Arbiter.
That means he's not the voice of what you call Kratos then. Well, they have various.
That's what Pitch Black, Armageddon.
Oh, Armageddon.
He was in all these movies, man.
Dude,
was he the voice of Kratos? Anyways, yeah. Keith David, sexy man, with a sexy voice for the Arbiter.
Oh heck yeah!
But getting to my point, the story was super good, and I could just play it all. I remember. I don't know. Someone should do a study about this, but there's something about when people play games, it's equally as fun to just watch people play games. So back then I would go to my friend's house. We would take turns. When someone dies, we'd continue on. I don't even know back then as a sixth grader, I understood the full grasp of lore of Halo. I just was like, it's fun to shoot things. It's cool to see the blood because that was a crazy thing too. Like you could hit the enemies and the blood would just splatter. Halo 1 was the most goriest, and I think they kind of toned it down a little bit in the other ones, but you could just keep on hitting it and it would get darker and darker. And
that's
darker.
That's how they were able to get the rated M rating. Like that was the only thing that made
That's right. That's right. Yeah. That's true. And I remember I was just like fascinated by just like I'm not saying like I'm a serial killer or anything like that, but just you just whack the thing and you could sit and you could shoot. Oh man, it was just fun. But
it's we were intrigued by the details. It was the details of it.
It was the details, yeah. Especially as a sixth grader. I mean, you're like a year or two older than me, but as a sixth grader, yeah, like that was just interesting, you know. And the flood. It went straight from like sci-fi to straight horror game. Once you hit the library, and then you do that, it's just a straight horror game. So I really appreciated what they did with the story, but it was not necessarily the story that was the key for me. It was this little thing called LAN parties.
Yeah.
That and people around the world will. So this clip right here is these not my boys. I don't know who these are. There's some random dudes, but I don't think people nowadays understand what a LAN party. If I had clips of my own type of LAN party or our LAN parties, oh man, would I show them? But in a sense, shout out to these guys. We'll add them in the references and stuff like that too, to give them credit for their YouTube stuff. But these are pretty much what LAN parties were for those people that don't know what they are. It was hooking up multiple TVs in multiple rooms. Like these guys hooked it up in different rooms, but we would just sit in the same room, put 4 TVs back to back, 2 on each side and 2 on the other side. You'd come with all your boys like this, okay? And you would just play multiplayer with each other. You know, Capture the Flag, Slayer, and dude, classic places, Blood Gulch, Hang'em High. These were all like super iconic levels. And judging by these guys who have no clue who they are, again, you know, they just seem super happy. And I feel like that was the culture back then. Like Halo was like a movement. Halo was something where you could bring people together and you would just come and you would literally create events out of this. I remember when we did it, we both lived at this place. We would call it the guy's house, but it was just a bunch of guys living at that house. And we would just come over and we would order pizza, drinks, Mountain Dews, all the kind of junk foods. We would set up 2 TVs with I believe one or two routers in the middle to connect them. Ethernet could connect all of the Xboxes to the TVs. So it'd be two TVs facing one way, two TVs facing the other way. You'd have like 8 guys sitting on one side watching those two TVs and 8 guys sitting on the other side watching the other TVs. And then we would all change our names. So like we'd all know each other's names. Like my name's Kawika, his name's Keith. We change our names like Mango, Draco, and stuff like that. So no one would know who you are necessarily. So
which is funny because like the more that we would continue to have these LAN parties, then like our second names became so iconic that like
they did.
They wouldn't know that it was like like you this is like the 15th time we're doing a LAN party, and it's like bang, oh bang on bang, Kawika, you. It's like,
no, people would yell out shit, dude. Like it'd be crazy. Like who's Bango Mango? Who is that? And when you teabag someone.
Oh yeah.
It's a whole nother thing. What was your name? What did you use back then?
Mine was 3CD.
3CD.
3 called Dragon. Yeah. I don't know, like there was my gamer tags were always like Dragon related, but 3 called Dragon was my like consistently used gamer tag. So like yeah, like by the time we were hitting our 123rd LAN party, like anytime we had a kill when it says 3CD, people don't even know that. It's like, Keith, you again. It's like,
yeah, that was crazy. That's a good point. That was a good point. You would get recognition based upon like how much we played, because people would remember your name.
Yeah.
You know, which was in the sense now, like, yeah. And now people have that with leaderboards and stuff like that, but within your own friend group, you could make a name for yourself. So,
and it was so like not easy, but it was like just a great way to be able to like have like new guys like come and hang out, because it was just something that it's just, I'm not going to say that it's a guy thing. I'm not going to say that it's a guy thing, but there's something about the Halo LAN parties that like, it feels like all guys can gravitate to. And I think the largest LAN party we had, I think it was upwards towards 12 TVs and 40 guys. I think it was around 40 guys, or maybe like 40 or 30 guys, but there was a lot. Like, yeah, I think it was maybe like coming in and out 40 guys.
It's a low-key tournament at that point.
It was,
but for those that don't know, if you can picture that in your head, dude, it was so stinking fun. And we would go all the way to like 12. You would have like your friends just yelling at each other at the end of the match. It'd be like, oh, okay, switch teams. You know, we have our own little drafts. Like these people are really good, so you can't have them all on the same team and things like that. So
we're creating our own low-key tournaments.
Exactly. We're totally creating our low-key tournaments, you know. So those are something I think that people nowadays, especially kids nowadays, they don't understand that, because it's all online. And don't get me wrong, Halo 2, Halo 3, revolutionary in what it's done in Xbox Live, and I've had equally as much fun as I had with the LAN parties. But the LAN parties was just a game changer. Like those are, if I could bring one thing back and have people nowadays experience what I experienced, LAN parties. 100%. Then I would say that's what boosts Halo up as probably like my top game for sure. My second one is this little game by Koei Tecmo. Okay, it's called Dynasty Warriors, specifically Dynasty Warriors 3, because that, thank you to Jeremy again, he had a PS2, and when we weren't playing Halo, we're also playing Dynasty Warriors 3. Okay, and Dynasty Warriors is pretty much like the Fast and the Furious franchise at this point. There's just a ridiculous amount of games. I think 9 is the last one, which kind of lines it up with the Fast and the Furious. Anyways, I don't know why this guy's Wei On. Wei On was not one of my favorites, but he was pretty cool for sure. But yeah, it's pretty much the introduction to hack and slash, and I would say it was my introduction to grinding. You know, you hear things now like Outriders, Destiny, real looter shooters and things like that. But this is my first concept of grinding. You know, grinding being like I'm going to play levels over and over, or play the game over and over again to level up my guy. And that's kind of, I don't know for other people, that was the key for me. I had little brothers and little cousins, and it was my like goal to make sure my guy was better than their guys. I would low-key get pissed off when their guys became stronger. Me being the older person, I just had to win, and that's no way for any brother to be. You know what I mean? I've learned my lesson, but that's how it was back in the day. You had to be the best of the best of the best, sir. You know what I mean? What movie is that from, Keith?
With honors.
With
Men in
honors.
Black.
But yeah, so it's pretty much your basic hack and slash. There's no real depth to it. It's just you're running around, licking people. There's this one dude inside that game. His name was Lu Bu. He's like the Thanos, I would say, of like the Dynasty Warriors franchise. And Lu Bu, I just like the way they crafted it. He was on the second level. There's this level called Hulao Gate. So there's one Battle of the Yellow Turban Armies, the first one. Okay. The second level, literally the second level, your guy is fucking weak as ass still, And then Lu Bu's there. Lu Bu is the strongest stinking character in this whole entire game. He has this special red horse that is, if your horse is like a Toyota Camry, his horse is like a fucking Lamborghini, Ferrari. It's just fast, dude. Apparently, you just have to dip your horse in red and becomes the fastest thing in the whole entire world, which I don't understand. But I like those kind of dynamics. You know what I mean? It's like they never saved the final boss to the end, which I think most people were kind of expecting. The final boss was in the second level, and you had the option to either fight him or not fight him. Or you could get your guy, which I think I would do. I would level my guy up so strong, go back to Hulao Gate and whoop his ass. Which was, interestingly enough, even if you level your guy up super strong, he's still pretty dang hard. But I just remember the goal of that game was beating Lu Bu for me. And also leveling my characters. I want to level all my characters. I don't know. Did you ever play Dynasty Warriors? Were you a
No, I mean, like from time to time, like I'll have like some friends who pick up Dynasty Warriors on the PlayStation Store. If I were to be honest, like my equivalent to Dynasty Warriors was what's that game called? Samurai Legends.
Samurai Legends. Yeah. The Japanese version.
Version of Dynasty Warriors. Yeah. Where you have like characters like Mitsuhide Akechi or Nobunaga Oda or Hideyoshi Hanzo Hisashi. Yeah,
he's my favorite.
It's just funny because like they also had the Ninja Jiraiya who was one of those few characters who was toting a shotgun, a classic style shotgun in the battle, which kind of makes sense because that was what the stories that was the actual Japanese myth that Jiraiya was one of the few ninjas who would carry around a shotgun.
Yeah, look it up. I didn't know that. Samurai Warriors was always like, to me, Dynasty Warriors. I started with Dynasty Samurai Warriors was okay, but Samurai Warriors was just as fun. It's pretty much the same thing. I always repped Hanzo. It was super fun. But that was something too. Like I actually learned. That's something about video games in general. I don't even know. Like especially the Japanese culture, because it's so prominent. Video games are so prominent there. Like you would learn about culture. You know what I mean? Like you would learn about I learned about Chinese culture,
Yeah.
Like people, there's people now. Like I see their names and stuff like that. I'm like, that's Zhuge Liang. You know what I mean? That's Zhuge. That's how you pronounce it. That's Zhuge Liang and stuff like that. It's like I know who that is because he's a character in Dynasty Warriors. And you learn stuff about like warfare and why they did certain things and stuff like. So that was just fun for me, dude. It was just fun. A lot of it was competing with my brothers, I remember, and stuff, but. I was just fun. For people that know what I'm talking about, I was a shoe guy. So Team Green has no Xbox relation because I loved my PlayStation 2.
It was just coincidental foreshadowing.
Keep that wrong, dude. I like PlayStation, okay? It's just I don't got the money to buy both consoles right now. So
You're right.
Okay? So Dynasty Warriors 3, near and dear to my heart. Grinding super hard, playing that game like shoe for life, Zhao Yun, represent. You know what I mean? But yeah, and I found out that lots of people like Zhao Yun. I don't even know why, but that's just the case. And last but not least, a Nintendo classic, the one that you need to play there's Donkey Kong Racing, there's Mario Kart, there's Mario Kart 64. But honestly, this changed the game of fighters. Y'all know what it is. Super Smash Brothers. I'm trying. That's my best intro. I can't do it with it. Oh, it's gonna blow! It's gonna blow the wind pretty soon. We should just voice over this, yeah. Oh, yeah, fucking punch. But anyways, anyways, going back, yeah, this was one of my favorite games. I had this on the N64. I played this a lot with my brother and my cousin, stuff like that. This was, I believe, this was my first fighter, and and the gameplay for this, for the N64 back in the day, was just so good. You know,
it had a very different concept. Instead of having a health bar, it had like a percentage, like stress meter kind of thing.
Yeah, but it also has like lives. It has health bar and stuff like that. But I think just
lives, yeah.
And I don't know, Nintendo it has such iconic characters that it's almost like you just like want to see them fight. You know what I mean? There's like a certain aspect to that. You know, that's what makes Marvel versus Capcom so good. It makes Mortal Kombat so good. Those fighters is because those characters become icons, and those icons is just like who doesn't want to see like Kirby duke it out, which was my favorite. Kirby was my favorite dude back then. But then I think along with just being a Nintendo fan, because before that I would play like Donkey Kong Country, Super Mario 64, Star Fox 64. What else did I play? Yeah, those were like all the games I grew up playing N64. And this N64 was my first console before PlayStation, before all the other stuff. So this was huge, and everyone was playing this. You know, like everyone was playing this game, and we would equally as it was like with Halo. I believe before that, it was Super Smash Brothers tournaments. You know, 4 guys just duking it out with each other. You know, I remember being Kirby
at the guy's house. At the guy's house, we had
at the guy's house, yeah. And I remember being Kirby, and I always tried to perfect the down B, or no, up B. It was up B, because Kirby could do this move where if you get someone to
like the backflip, right? The backflip kick.
No, not the backflip kick. It's the one where he gets the sword, he goes, yeah, and he gets like the little blue sword.
Yeah. And then
you can't do this in like Melee. You can't do this in Brawl and all those the new ones and stuff like that. But but N64, Kirby's move was OP, because if you had someone at the edge and you caught them with the up B, it would be like you're done. It's a one-hit KO, and you hit them straight to the ground. So Kirby hits his sword up in the air, and if you catch someone like that, you're going to hit them straight down to wherever they're going. So if Kirby hits you and he does like the up B, he'll hit you down to the ground. But if you hit someone off the stage and you do the Kirby move and you hit someone to the ground, they're going to fall straight to the ground off the stage and die. And I remember, I think that was like one of my first, because I was never super into like Mortal Kombat or things like that, but landing combos in that game felt good.
Yeah.
Felt super good.
Yeah.
Especially if you're Kirby, you do like a 1-2 punch, hit him up in the air, do the kick where they go, hit him off the stage, do an up B, slam someone down. You can kill them in less than 5 seconds. And you felt like a sucking boss.
For me, it was Pikachu, because he was so hard to use.
Pikachu was very hard to use.
But once you're
very
able,
niche character, yeah.
Once you're able to figure out like how his combos work, or at least how to have like a rhythm with his combos, then like it's just so epic to like be able to like pull off like these like backflip, dodge, smash, and because he's naturally quick. I think that was the first appeal for me with Pikachu, is that he's naturally quick.
Fast,
but he doesn't have any hard hitting moves, so he doesn't have like like how Kirby has that the
stone, the down B.
Pikachu doesn't really have any like one hit kills. His kills are based on like trying to rack up your combos. But
or the side A's and stuff.
On the side, the side A's was like his one hit combos. But even then, you had to like set the guys up in a certain way.
Pikachu had that move though, where it would charge up and you could hit someone with like a thunder tackle or something like that. But that would also damage you. That was a bummer. That would also damage you.
No, I think the splash damage was introduced in Melee. In Smash Brothers,
you weren't damaged. I see.
But yeah, like once you're able to figure out his combos, then it's like, I'm not saying that he's untouchable, but like he becomes really difficult to like get a hit on, which is like so much. You get Pikachu, and you literally turn him into a Shonen Jump anime character, because he'll just like suit, crawl all over, like speed all over the place and do epic combos. It was so satisfying to pull them off.
Yeah.
Something about the hard work of like being able to figure out the combos make it like worthwhile, you know?
That's any fighter, dude. Any fighter is like that. I gotta say though, Master Han, one of the greatest final bosses ever. One of the most unique, greatest final bosses ever. He's a final
Yeah,
boss where he's like pretty hard, but you're just like, dude, it feels good when I kill you.
yeah.
And it's the lore of always. I don't know if this was like a old school thing, but I feel like there was always like a lore, especially with like the secret cheat codes, like Game Shark and things
Mm,
like that. You always wanted to play, like, see if the final boss was a playable character.
yeah. You ever heard of this? Okay, there were like so many rumors of how he could be the final character. There's this one that was my favorite that I tried all the time, even with Game Shark, but it just ended up being like a fake. Um,
Missing gnome.
not the missing gnome rumor. It was the Mew rumor. There was
Oh yes,
the
you
Mew
tried to move the
rumor,
truck.
huh?
You tried to move the truck, right?
Oh yeah, Pokemon. But I'm talking about Smash Brothers.
Oh, smash! Oh,
Okay,
whoa!
here's the Mew rumor. If
I've
you have
never
the
heard this rumor.
if
Okay.
you have the Game Shark attached to Smash Brothers, and you have Donkey Kong, you have your character Donkey Kong, and then set it where like you only get Pokeball items because the item selectors, like there's a feature in the game called item selectors, so that only the items that you want appear.
Mhm.
There's a rumor that says like if you're able to unlock Mew, because like you can sometimes use Pokeballs in your combat battles, and the Pokemon they generate is random. That could help you out.
Yeah.
But Mew appears and he does absolutely nothing. He just gives you points. The rumor was if you smack Mew with a fully charged DK punch, then there would be an animation of DK's hand growing large, becoming Master Hand. And from then on, Master Hand can be part of your roster.
It's a pretty stupid rumor, but
It was
I
a
could see.
feel of like how ridiculous that sound, and at the same time, kind of possible was what made me kind of like just kept on spamming Pokemon.
No, yeah, back then it was anything. You would just try anything. I remember sitting at that stupid truck in Pokemon and trying to use strength over and
Oh yeah,
over and over again just to see if I can get Mew. But I think that's something you don't have that too much nowadays, yeah. Like
yeah.
I think because back then, like it was all about gaming magazines, and gaming magazines would like do all these little lores, or you would have like internet stuff, but it would be like very like I don't hear that too much, like secret characters or secret things. It's like people even just put it in their games now. They just put the cheat codes in the games. You know what I mean?
These random cheat codes that kind of made it feel like you had to like actually put work to like research to like get more of the lore out of it.
You totally have to research. Yeah.
And even then, you can never know if the cheat codes were real or not.
Yeah.
Like the SSN truck or the DK punch.
SSN, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. For people that don't know, Game Shark was like this. It was like a what was it?
It was like a game. Like it was a hack. It's a game hacker kind of thing.
Yeah. Like it was like its own little thing that you would plug into or put into your Game Boy or system, and then it would have like a bunch of already pre-installed cheat codes, or it's a way that you can kind of like hack your game to put cheat codes and things like that. So it's either Game Shark or like video game magazines. They would have cheat codes inside there too. Oh man, good times. And that was top 3. Any honorable mentions? 2 maybe.
2?
Don't go into them. Just say your honorable.
See my honorable mentions.
Yeah.
You
have a top 5. What will your other 2 be for you?
It would be actually thinking about top 2 is hard. I only have one honorable mention for right now.
Like, that's fine.
Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is definitely
JRPG.
The JRPG.
His other one would be Phantasy Star Online, and then after that, it would be Zone of Enders.
Oh, that's right, Zone of Enders. Okay, there's my 2 honorable mentions.
What else? Dragon Quest? You want to add Dragon Quest into there? Might as well add Dragon Quest into there.
Maybe, but like I will say it's like because like Kingdom Hearts like just on the down low, I love the franchise because Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, favorite game of all time. Just
Devil May Cry was your favorite.
The story and the gameplay and the characters, just lovable. But I wouldn't say it's my favorite games because of like just how intense the lore got in the next few years. So it kind of felt like they were like not really like digging themselves a hole, but like they were like cramming all their ideas all at one time, and they didn't have that much time to get it all done because the PS5 was around the corner. So it was one of those like, I really want to like just fall in love with it like I do with Devil May Cry, but just not really there. But Kingdom Hearts definitely is like just it's another one of my favorite games. I like hold dear and true to my heart. I have a lot of memories with it. It's definitely like and there's still like not to say that it's a god awful game. No, there's a lot of merits about it that makes it like really like an amazing game in its own right.
What you need to do is to outro us off. You should sing the Kingdom Hearts song.
When you walk, you know what? That's a
oh my lord!
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. My top Marvel mention is probably Twisted Metal. That's up there. Ooh. Twisted Metal. And then it's another one. Yeah. That's all I can think of off the top of my head right now. I don't know. That stuff I've been playing recently on Game Pass. I don't know. Zero Katana is really good too. You would like that game. Katana Zero Katana. I don't know how it is, but you would really like that game. Just gotta buy it. He's got to buy an Xbox, but you would like that game. It's about a samurai. Anyways, that's pretty much it for today, people, brothers and sisters. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for just sticking with us for fucking 1 hour and 21 minutes. This is nuts. This is just a normal conversation I think that me and Keith would have if we could just go off, you know. Yeah. But again, hey, like we want to learn, we want to grow. So I know some people can be dickheads and you're gonna fucking leave bad comments and call us like we suck and things like that. But that's good because we'll grow from that, you know. I'm hoping not. But yeah, if you want to leave things in the comments, if there's things that you notice or things you think would be better, hey, hit us up, you know, whether it be Twitter, YouTube, comment section. And again, if you want to come on and be a guest, we would love to have you guys on, you know. But again, our hope for this podcast is we just want to bring a bigger gaming presence in Hawaii. We want to talk with people in Hawaii about games. We want to, you know, in the future drop a like deals that are coming on in GameStops in Hawaii. It's real easy for the people in the mainland to get those kind of drops, but Hawaii, we don't have that, you know. We just have GameStop, Best Buy, and we don't know when things are happening unless one of our like cousins work there or something like that. We would love to have more guests come on from Hawaii and Tacoma and from Seattle. People that are there too. I know Keith has a few friends that want to hop on. We want to pick your guys' brains. We want to scrap with you guys intellectually. Scrap is a word for like fight with you guys intellectually. And yeah, we just want to bring people within the spotlight, talk more story about that. And then yeah, we want to figure out I said that already. But anyways, you can catch us on YouTube at the Talk Story Podcast with Draco and Mango. Look that up. I think we're gonna post this live and put it on top, and we'll have it on by the end of this week, so you guys can watch and stuff like that. Friends, if you see this, watch, subscribe, support us. The little things count. And if we have 10 people, we'll cry. We'll cry with joy. You know, that's the goal, and then we move on from there. You can see us on Twitter at TalkStoryHI, TalkStoryHi808, all lowercase on Twitter. Or you can catch us on Twitter as well at Bango Mango, BANGO Mango 91, or Keith's one, 3C Draco with a capital D. Okay? Yeah. That's all we have for us, man. Brother Keith, do you have anything before we clock out at a good 1 minute 30-ish? That's solid. That's what we shot for, and that's what we fucking got. We birdied this bitch.
I'm just gonna like again, like thank you guys so much for watching this, and we're really hoping that people will enjoy this. I mean, this is already having this podcast between me and Kawika is already going to be like a lot of joy and fun for us. But what really will help to expand our joy is like to be able to like, you know, spread the joy out to other people. So really hope that you enjoy it. And if you did enjoy it, we're really, really, really excited that we can be able to push this forward and see where this podcast go. There are so many things to talk about. It's going to be so much fun to talk about those kind of things. And we just want you guys to be joining in with our journey. Right?
Right.
All right. But again, yeah, thanks so much, guys. Thank you so much.
And if you join, if we get more than 10 subscribers within the next month, Keith will shave half of his mustache. All right, bye, guys. Have a good one. Thank you.
You know what? Sure. We get
click the button. Click the button so it's true.
If we get 10 subscribers before June 14th, then
I'm just kidding. No one's gonna want to see that. No one wants to see that. That's ugly. That's ugly in itself. Kid and Butter sisters, thank you. To the next one. Every second and fourth Saturday of the month, we'll try and have one of these out. We'll try. We might be on Hawaiian time, you know. I mean, things might happen. Life might happen. Voldemort might happen. But we're aiming to have this every second and fourth Saturdays. Talk Story podcast. Tell your mother, tell your sister, tell your grandmother to come on Talk Story with us. Thank you. Almost died, bro. Okay, bye.
Bye.